Hello everyone. Hello XRcon 2021. Super excited to be here. Thank you so much, Farina Hamann, for the invitation. And welcome everyone to my talk on extended reality for training and work. So for the next half hour, I'm going to talk about the opportunities of immersive technologies for business and education, which is basically what you can use virtual and augmented reality for, apart from building games. My name is Saskia Groenewegen. I've been involved with VR and AR for a really long time, since my student days. I first encountered VR as a student in Germany when I was working at the Fraunhofer Research Institute, where a lot of early VR research was taking place. And I liked it so much that after graduating in computer science, I moved to Weimar and got another master's degree, just with the focus on VR and AR. Then I moved to the Netherlands, and there I had the opportunity to work with VR researchers in Delft at the Technical University at TNO. I also worked at Utrecht University for a bit as a PhD student, and after that I switched to industrial R&D. And for the last 4 years I've been working as a software architect at a company called ORDINA, as the tech lead of the extended reality team, and you can see some pictures of my work here. And it's very diverse. Like one day I'm on a high voltage station, and then maybe the next day I'm in a cow shed and the cow's trying to eat my hardware. And sometimes I give talks about my work, like today. Next to work, I also am involved in organizing conferences like SIGGRAPH and the Global XRcon, which is happening again next month. And since this year, I can call myself a Microsoft MVP for mixed reality. So, since this is the market reality track, let me tell you a little bit about my workplace, ORDINA. It's a local IT service provider in the Benelux with a little under 3,000 employees, and we build digital solutions in many sectors, especially finance, government, and industry. ORDINA has a total of 9 offices in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. And personally, I'm based in the headquarters, which is near Utrecht, in the Netherlands. So within ORDINA, there's also a team, my team, that deals with immersive technologies, or extended reality, or XR. And we've been working with XR for a long time. So in the past 7 years, we've done more than 50 projects for customers from industry, government, defense, healthcare, and education, and other sectors. And like I already mentioned, our work is pretty diverse. Like sometimes, one day we're on a ship of the Navy, and then maybe we are on a farm or on a high voltage station. And the XR team is part of the Microsoft department of ORDINA, because we program almost everything in Microsoft C# and use the Unity game engine. So I'm sure I don't have to explain this to most of you, but just to get my definition straight, what does exactly XR encompass for me? So for me, that's 3 core technologies. We have virtual reality, we have mixed reality, and we have augmented reality. Virtual reality, I think there's not a lot of discussion about this term, is when you completely replace the real world with a simulated world, right? You put on your glasses and you feel like you're stepping into another world. And you can see 2 examples here, 2 popular games, Beat Saber and Job Simulator. And this technology ranges like from simple cardboard glasses to sophisticated room scale setups. And to me, VR is not only the visual part, but also things like movement, smell, haptics, like anything that stimulates your senses can also be part of a virtual reality. And then with augmented reality, you can actually see the real world. Information is projected on top of reality, as we can see here, for example with the IKEA app. And another well-known example is Pokemon Go. So for AR, you usually use a mobile phone or a tablet, but there are also glasses, like Google Glass. And the last one is mixed reality, similar to augmented reality, but for this we use glasses with a lot of sensors, like the HoloLens or the Magic Leap. And as a result, those glasses know a lot about the environment and can place digital objects in the real world as if they were real objects. Like for example, you can hold a digital coffee mug with your hands and place it on your real table. Or you can even play piano in the air. And those digital objects look really realistic and three-dimensional, and you can interact with them in an intuitive way. So all of those examples are showing games, but at ORDINA we don't develop XR solutions for games, but mainly for two other purposes: to help people learn and train, and to support people at work. And that is because we see a couple of key benefits in those two areas. And we're not the only ones. Like, overall, we see a shift in our industry from games to enterprise solutions, including hardware. For example, like several hardware manufacturers have developed headsets for business purposes in the recent past. Like Microsoft with the HoloLens 2, there's Google Glass for enterprise, HTC with the Vive Pro, and even the Oculus Quest 2, like a very consumer-focused device, has a business version. And the reason for this is that there are many benefits for companies using immersive technologies. To see why this is the case, we have to take a small step back first and look at the current situation on the labor market. So let's see. Despite Corona, we are experiencing economic growth in recent years. That means extra work and the need for more employees. But many people are retiring. We're losing their knowledge. We have an aging population. And people, especially technical people, are doing more and more very specialized work. So they're less widely employable. And the last thing is there's insufficient influx. Like, there are not enough young people to replace all the old people that we're losing. For example, a large tech company here in the Netherlands, ASML, they did a study, and the result was that soon they will need as many engineers, new engineers, every year as graduates in the Netherlands, which is of course, impossible. So the result of those things is basically a labor shortage, which means we have to do more with fewer people, and we have to do wider and broader, more activities with the specialists that we have. And the question is, how do we solve this? Now, the key word here, I think, is sustainable employability. We want to make people more sustainably employable, and this is exactly where VR and AR can help. Because we see a number of advantages arising from the use of VR and AR, such as we can build with VR realistic training environments that would otherwise be hard to access, for example. We can make knowledge accessible everywhere with AR glasses. We can make people more widely employable. We can facilitate remote collaboration. We can make all of this work more personal and fun with new technologies. And those things lead to more cost and time efficiency. So these were the benefits we see, but how do we get there? So we want to basically support people during two core activities. One is during training, and the other is during working. And for training, we usually most often use virtual reality to facilitate immersive learning. And for work, we most often use augmented and mixed reality for performance support. So this was a bit of the theory. Now I want to show you what this means in practice, and on the basis of some use cases, and show you some projects that we have done for our customers. All the projects I'm going to show you have been developed in Unity, the game engine, and programmed in C#. Let's start with virtual reality. Sorry. So this is a ship of the Royal Dutch Navy that's deployed in the Caribbean. That means that if a new crew needs to be trained on the ship, they have to wait until the ship comes home, and then the ship has to lie in the harbor for 2 weeks while the new crew learns how to work on it. So what we did to help with this is basically we built a copy of this ship. We call it a digital twin, a digital copy of this ship and its systems. I'm going to show you a little video. So here's the real ship. And this is my colleague, who is the main programmer on this project, putting on a VR headset, and you can see the virtual environment. So you can see it's pretty close to the real ship. And you can walk around in the ship, look at all of the systems. The model is based on CAD models of the actual ship. We use the Vive controllers to interact with the ship and also to move. So of course you can physically walk around in your play space, but you can also teleport to access all areas of the ship. And then you can go downstairs. But it's not just a visual copy of the ship, but also of its systems. So you can see all of those buttons here. And all those buttons have the exact same functionality as they do on the real ship. So people can basically use this to train how to operate all of those systems, like how to open hatches, and there's all kinds of things. And we built copies of 3 of those systems, and it was a proof of concept that we did in 5 weeks with 2 people, like 1 programmer and 1 3D modeler, mostly. And well, basically what I want to say with that is that already within a very small time frame, you can already, if you're doing a proof of concept, create a lot of value for customers in a very short time frame. Because the benefits of this VR system are listed here, and in general, digital twins enable you to train with systems that are either hard to access or that are dangerous. Think of high energy systems, for example, or fire. People can train earlier and more often. They can train anywhere. They can train situations that are dangerous or expensive. This realistic training also increases their efficiency at work. And I think I already said that, they can train with systems that cannot be easily accessed. It's like a ship that is far away. So here's another example. This is a virtual training environment that was built for nursing students who go on to work in a military environment. And they're sent into war zones, for example, to treat patients. And this simulation is now an integral part of their school curriculum, and helps them to learn 2 things: triage and clinical reasoning. But what it also does, on top of that, is put them in a situation that they would actually normally never encounter in their normal training, which is a field hospital in a war zone, with symptoms and injuries that are unusual in a regular hospital. And through this, they are much better prepared for their real work. So here's a little video where you can see the environment. You can interact with avatars. You have to choose which patient needs your help the most. Then you have to go to the patients and figure out what is actually wrong with the patient by talking to him or her, collecting all kinds of information about the patient that you can find. And then in the end, all this information is presented here as little post-it notes. And you have to decide which information is actually important. So this is part of their study process of this college. So, and I'm going to now show you another little video that shows a little bit of context and shows the students at work with the system.
Mijn naam is Hedy Siemering. Ik ben projectcoördinator van de Mixed Reality werkgroep van Landsteden. Samen met ORDINA hebben wij de game Virtual Reality in de militaire zorg ontwikkeld. We merken dat het enorm helpt om de intrinsieke motivatie bij de studenten te vergroten. Ahead of Change spreekt ons natuurlijk als onderwijsinstelling erg aan. Want wij willen ook graag op kop lopen in de onderwijsontwikkeling. En dat proberen wij met onze werkgroep Mixed Reality te doen. Dat geeft ons een hele grote digitale voorsprong. Met dank aan ORDINA.
So here we have another example. This is an example of remote collaboration. Like imagine you have people in different locations or different countries and you want them to work together. So for the Dutch emergency services, like the people that pick up the phone when you dial 911, we built this virtual environment that allows them to work together in a team of up to 20 people. And they can access information interactively, and they can visualize multiple data sources together, and they can work as a team, either from the same location or from all over the country. For example, here they can see where their units are stationed, they can see what the weather is like, they can see traffic information, all the things that basically influence their decisions if there's an emergency. And the system can be used for operations, but also for education. And this interactive data visualization that helps people to gain insight into how multiple data sources interact and combine. It's something that is much more difficult on a flat screen. People can get together faster for training or work, and meeting remotely saves travel costs and time and CO2 emissions. So these were my virtual reality examples. Let's move on to mixed reality with the HoloLens. This is a system that we built for Alliander, which is an energy company, and basically they have mechanics that have to repair a wide range of systems all over the country, and those systems are all like kind of the same, but not quite, and teaching all of those differences to all of their engineers takes a lot of time and money. So basically we built a system that enables people that have like a base level of education in how to repair the system to then repair all kinds of different systems, because the HoloLens will provide them with the extra information that they need. So it guides those mechanics through repairs, so the mechanic doesn't need to know all the details. And you can see that here. So the system provides step-by-step instructions on what to do, also like shows you what is where. It gives you extra information like circuit boards, for example. And when necessary, a more experienced colleague can provide remote guidance from the office. And this saves not only time, but also reduces CO2 emissions from travel, because that second colleague doesn't have to travel to the place and can also support multiple engineers or mechanics at the same time. And here's another list of the of the benefits of this kind of working. Right, you can actually do supervised learning. This way, you increase the safety and efficiency of the people, because they also make fewer mistakes this way when all the steps are told to them. Less travel. You can deploy your technicians wider and earlier. They become more skilled this way, and you have a shorter lead time for repairs and fewer costs for malfunctions that happen with your system. This is another example. So NADAP, the company we built this for, makes software for farmers, and the software collects a lot of information about cows. So the software has lots of data about like when did the cow last eat, is the cow healthy, is the cow pregnant, all kinds of other data points. And they have all this information in their backend system, and they used to have an app on the phone where you could access this information. But in a cow shed is kind of dirty, and you don't really want to always like get your phone out and touch it. So the benefit of using a HoloLens here is that basically you can like hands-free or like without touching anything interact with the data. And the other thing is that all those cows wear trackers, so we know where every cow is. So our software actually displays the correct information over every cow, because we know where the cow is. So, and you can even find cows. You can say, where is cow number 23? And then the system will go, bing, cow is here. I'm going to show you also a little video of this project.
We've created an augmented reality experience that shows relevant animal information in your view. Actions that you perform are entered into our management system automatically. Depending on the task that you are performing, the system really thinks with you. May that task be a vet check? There's no need for a second person giving you information, and there's no administration afterwards entering treatment information into your computer. What makes this hands-free experience possible is the cow control technology that we've had for years now. We know the behavior and the location of all your cows, and we've combined it with this new augmented reality technology.
So these were some examples for mixed reality, but sometimes you don't need an expensive mixed reality headset, right? A HoloLens costs what, €3,500. It's very expensive, a big investment for client, and sometimes you don't need all of this spatial data. And then it's much easier to just use like simple augmented reality. So I want to show you another example of one project we did on the phone. It was again for energy company Alliander. And in this case, it was about repairing assets on a high energy station. So imagine something's broken. What happened before we built the app is basically the mechanic comes to the station and has to figure out which asset is broken, goes into a house where there's like a cabinet with lots of books, like takes the first book and looks up the asset, basically the book for this asset, puts the book back, takes the next book that actually belongs to the asset, looks at all the data for the asset, puts that back, then walks outside and then can start repairing. And also usually has to call the colleagues to ask about things like the history of defects with this asset. So it's quite an involved process. Something that we try to make easier by building this app. So basically what this app does is recognize the assets when you look through your phone camera and then immediately give you all the information that you need, that you would usually get out of your cabinet or from your colleagues. And we did this using a quite recent technology from Microsoft called spatial anchors, which enables you to recognize objects without markers. So they didn't want to like stick markers on everything, so we used spatial anchors for that. Let me show you the video for this project as well. So that was also a really nice project to work on. Here's then another list of the benefits, right? People save time, save cost. It's safer because they are led through all the steps that they have to do repairs. There's less travel and more efficiency. So this already leads me to my conclusion. As we have seen, there are a lot of benefits for education, training and work through immersive technologies, such as you save time and cost. People can work more efficiently and more safely. They can gain better insights in 3D. They can work hands-free, like in the cow shed. You can work location independent, and remote collaboration becomes easier. You can repeat training way more often. Think of the ship from the beginning. You have to travel less, which makes it more eco-friendly. And working this way often is a lot more fun. So these were the benefits, but let's not just talk about the benefits, because there are also some challenges still with working with extended reality. And I'm sure many of you have also run into this. And I'm also really interested in, what challenges do you still see when you're developing those kinds of systems? So what we see are three things. One, the hardware, right? The hardware is still quite expensive and quite bulky. It's something that users don't like too much, right? It's also evolving really fast. Like I can't even count anymore how often a new headset comes out. Like it's like several times a year. And there's a lack of standards. Like many companies, for example, they need all their devices to conform to certain standards for like how dust or water or all of that. And most modern headsets don't have those standards yet. Second thing is the software. Anyone who's ever worked with a HoloLens and MRTK knows how often the software keeps changing. Sometimes it's breaking changes. So there's a lot of evolution going on there. Also Unity, for example, lots of new versions are coming out. And that's true for many software packages. There's also a lot of platforms. Like there's not just Steam VR, but also like Viveport, Oculus Store, and others. And the last thing is that's still challenging is the customer. Like to most customers, XR is completely unfamiliar terrain, which means that basically in every project you often have to still educate the customer, like what are the possibilities, and you know what can you actually achieve with this kind of software. And that often takes a large amount of time, or like it can also happen that people have completely different ideas of what the technology can do, and like have some like seen a sci-fi movie and then think it's possible. So that's also something to really consider. But like I said, please tell me your challenges during the Q&A. I'm really interested. So, but let's sum up. We started with what did we actually want to do? We wanted to make people more sustainably employable through XR technologies. We do this by supporting them on two fronts during the training and during the work. And we use mostly immersive learning with virtual reality and performance support with mixed and augmented reality. So I want to conclude my talk with a little show reel of our work, and afterwards I'm happy to answer your questions. So, the last slide, here's my contact information and our website. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.